Welcome to KS Fantasy Channel. Fantasy Fiction. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to all the lovely viewers for joining me on this channel. Please don't forget to hit the like button, share, subscribe, and enable notifications to support the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell so you won't miss any new videos and new content. If you would like to support the channel, you can do so by sending super chats and super stickers. If you are watching a backlogged video, you can also send super thanks to support the channel's development. To those who have already supported, I would like to express my deepest gratitude. And without further ado, let's enjoy the story for today. Chapter 6. Arcanus's Final Secret. As the end drew near, Arcanes summoned Callisto and Zig. They raced to his side, their faces etched with worry. No words were spoken, only the silent torrent of tears that streamed down Callisto's cheeks. With trembling hands, Callisto cradled Arcanus's weakening form. "I have something important to tell you," Arcanes rasped, his voice barely a whisper. He strained to lift his head, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Blood trickled from his lips, staining his chin. Callisto and Zig knelt beside him, their heads bowed in sorrow, unable to bear the sight of their dying friend. A profound sense of loss washed over Arcanes as he realized he could do nothing more. Slowly, the tears that had marked his legendary warrior's face began to dry. "I've hidden a weapon of ultimate destruction on a distant planet," he croaked. "It's a world far beyond the reaches of any known civilization." He squeezed Callisto's hand, his grip growing weaker. Callisto and Zig exchanged a worried glance, their eyes brimming with tears. The scene was heart-wrenching. What do you mean?" Callisto asked, his voice choked with emotion. He reached out to support him, but he was too weak. Arcanes continued, his voice barely audible. "I created this weapon with the purest of intentions, believing it could safeguard the universe. But I soon realized its terrible power and the danger it posed. And then I learned of Nova's sinister plans to use it to conquer galaxies, subjugating countless worlds. Therefore, I decided to hide it on a distant planet, where no one would ever find it," Arcanes said. "I couldn't bear the thought of this weapon falling into the wrong hands. It would bring ruin to the galaxy. Before I die, could you do one thing for me, Callisto? Please destroy this weapon of mass destruction." Arcanes pleaded, his gaze fixed on Callisto, his final request hanging in the air. Callisto and Zig understood Arcanus's intentions. "I promise you, I will destroy it," he vowed, his grip tightening around his hand. Tears streamed down his face, a ceaseless torrent of grief. "No matter where it is, I'll help you find it," Zig added, turning to Callisto. Arcanes offered a weak smile. "I know you can," he said. "You are the heroes of this galaxy." "Callisto, listen carefully," he rasped, gathering his remaining strength. "My final resting place is in a secluded valley, hidden deep within a forest. This necklace," he said, gesturing to the golden chain adorned with a glowing yellow gemstone, "is a family heirloom. It was a gift from my wife. In that house, you will find." This wooden box, adorned with a yellow gemstone, was created as a reminder. "A reminder of my wife and daughter. I entrust it to you," Arcanes said, handing the box to Callisto just before he breathed his last. "Go. There's a narrow passage to the left. Escape," he urged. "You must survive, Callisto, Zig." As Arcanus's voice faded, Callisto and Zig raced towards the left, finding the narrow passage as he had described. "Hey, where do you think you're going?" Nova's voice boomed through the cavern. He pointed at his men and barked, "Get them. Hurry up, you useless bunch." Nova's minions gave chase. "You're not getting away," they shouted. Arcanes smiled victoriously as his consciousness slipped away. "I'm sorry, Eva," he murmured. "I love you, Luna. I'm so sorry." A final tear rolled down his lifeless face. Suddenly, a massive explosion shook the Shadow Valley. Rocks rained down from the ceiling, blocking Nova's men. Dust filled the air, obscuring their vision. Nova's soldiers panicked, their screams echoing through the cavern. The once dim light was extinguished, plunging them into darkness. Callisto and Zig turned to look at Arcanes. His body was mangled and lifeless. He had sacrificed himself to stop Nova. Callisto was consumed by anger, sorrow, and despair. He had lost her best friend, but she knew this was no time to mourn. They needed to escape. He spotted a crack in the cavern wall and realized it might be their way out. Come on, Zig, we need to pry these rocks apart. We have to get out of here. You go first, Zig shouted, pushing Callisto aside. With the last of his strength, he heaved against the massive boulder blocking the exit. Slowly, the rocks began to shift. With a thunderous crash, the rocks gave way, and a small opening appeared. Sunlight streamed in. Callisto and Zig scrambled through the gap and out of the cavern just as it began to collapse again. They ran through the forest, glancing back at the Shadow Valley. Flames were consuming the cavern, and wild animals fled in terror. Nova and his men were trapped. Though Nova was defeated, victory had come at a terrible cost. Callisto had lost his dearest friend. He looked down at Arcanus's necklace, the last gift from his fallen comrade. He would honor Arcanus's memory and protect the galaxy from evil. Nova won't give up that easily. They'll come after us, Callisto muttered, clenching his fist. I'll never forget Arcanus's sacrifice, the iron arm of Shadow Valley. Following Arcanus's directions, Callisto and Zig arrived at a small village nestled in a secluded valley. This was where the map to the weapon of mass destruction was hidden. They entered an old cottage at the heart of the village. The creaking of the heavy wooden door echoed through the house as Callisto stepped inside. Sunlight streamed through gaps in the aged wooden planks, illuminating the dusty interior. The air was filled with the scent of old wood and flowers. They walked through a spacious hall with a dark, polished wooden floor. The walls were adorned with faded oil paintings, and the simple wooden furniture was arranged neatly. A large table stood in the center of the room, surrounded by wooden chairs. A vase of dried flowers sat atop the table. Callisto and Zig continued to the bedroom. The double wooden doors creaked open, revealing a four-poster bed draped with a faded white sheet. Sheer curtains filtered the soft sunlight. A bedside table held an old metal lamp. He walked to the window and looked out at the garden. Tall trees shaded the lush green lawn, and colorful flowers bloomed in abundance. A gentle breeze carried the sweet song of birds. This old wooden house was filled with stories and memories. The air was thick with the warmth of Arcanus's past. It was a peaceful place, a perfect retreat from the outside world. Their footsteps echoed through the empty rooms. As Callisto wandered from room to room, sunlight streamed through the old wooden windows, creating patterns on the wooden floor. He picked up an old book from a shelf and sat down in a rocking chair. The ticking of an antique clock filled the house. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath, inhaling the comforting scent of the past. Creak, creak, creak. The door slowly opened. Callisto and Zig turned to see an old man sitting in a rocking chair. "You're back, Arcanes," the old man said, opening his eyes wide. "It's not Arcanes. Who are you?" Callisto asked. Callisto showed the old man the family heirloom. The old man's eyes widened in shock and sorrow. "If this necklace has changed hands, then," his voice trailed off, "its owner must be gone. You are the heir," the old man exclaimed, raising his left arm. "I am Callisto," Callisto replied, bowing his head. "I've come for the map." The old man nodded. "I know," a raspy voice came from the long-bearded old man. "I will give you the map. But first, you must prove to me that you are worthy of it." Callisto felt a knot of worry in his stomach. "What kind of test?" he asked, his brow furrowing. The old man explained that they must retrieve a rose-colored crystal from a nearby valley. It was a test of courage, loyalty, and sacrifice. "I'll do it," Callisto replied with determination. He would do whatever it took to fulfill his promise to Arcanes. "I'll go with him," Zig offered. The old man nodded. "Very well," he said. "But you must go separate ways." Callisto and Zig parted ways to face their individual trials. Callisto confronted beasts in a dense forest, climbed treacherous mountains, and crossed scorching deserts. Zig faced a band of ruthless bandits, solved ancient riddles, and defeated an army of giant ants. The trials were arduous, but Callisto and Zig persevered. They knew the fate of the universe rested on their shoulders. Finally, Callisto and Zig returned, each carrying a rose-colored crystal. The old man was impressed by their courage, loyalty, and sacrifice. They presented the crystals to him. and he smiled, opening a drawer in the old wooden cabinet. He pulled out a small, wooden box adorned with a yellow gemstone and a lock. Callisto and Zig stood before the locked box, feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. "This must be the box where Arcanes hid the map," Callisto murmured. "Inside, we might find the map to the weapon of mass destruction or something else that will help us fight the evil forces." "You're right," Zig agreed. "We should try to open it." Callisto picked up a key from the nearby table. "I've tried several keys, but none of them fit," he said. "Wait a minute," Zig said, looking around. "Didn't Arcanes give you that family heirloom? The one with the yellow gemstone necklace? I remember seeing a key attached to it." "That's right, I completely forgot," Callisto exclaimed, pulling Arcanis's family heirloom from around his neck. A small key dangled from the necklace. Callisto turned to Zig and tried the key in the lock. Click. The lock clicked open. Callisto and Zig peered inside with excitement. "A map," Callisto exclaimed, pulling out an old, rolled-up map. The aged map was fascinating. Covered in a thick layer of dust, it exuded the musty scent of old paper and the lingering essence of Arcanes. As he unfurled the map, a detailed, hand-drawn illustration unfolded before him. The lines were faint, and the symbols and writing were difficult to decipher. The map depicted landscapes, routes, cities, and landmarks. As Callisto studied it, his mind wandered back to his childhood, when he would lie in the attic and dream of adventures. This map was more than just a piece of paper. It was a window into Arcanis's past, a testament to his sacrifice, and a reminder of the vast universe they inhabited. "If they don't attack us, we will attack them. Peace will never last if this weapon falls into the wrong hands." Callisto imagined the far-off places this map would lead him to. Whoever had created it must have been a truly remarkable person. The map held many secrets. It spoke volumes about the past. He spent a moment simply gazing at it, imagining the stories it could tell. "What is it?" Zig asked, taking the map from Callisto. "I'm not sure," Callisto replied thoughtfully. "But judging by the symbols, it must be a map to the weapon of mass destruction." Zig grinned. "I think you're right," he exclaimed. Callisto and Zig spread the map out and examined it closely. Callisto was careful. The map was old and fragile. Zig, however, was more daring. Using his analytical mind, he pointed to a spot on the map. "What's this?" he asked. Callisto followed Zig's finger. A red symbol. What could it mean? Zig unfurled the map further. It depicted planets, galaxies, and places they had never seen before. A red marker indicated the location of the hidden weapon. "This is it," Callisto said, his eyes widening. "This is the map to the weapon of mass destruction." "I knew it," Zig replied, grinning. With the map in hand, Callisto and Zig felt a surge of excitement. They thanked the old man for his help and left the house. They boarded their spaceship and set a course for the distant planet. Chapter 7. The Journey to the Distant Planet. Callisto and Zig stood on the launch pad, gazing up at the massive spaceship before them. They were about to embark on a perilous journey to a distant planet, guided by an ancient map. Their mission? To find and destroy the weapon of mass destruction before it fell into the wrong hands. They knew they were the galaxy's only hope. The spaceship was state-of-the-art, equipped with the latest technology. Both Callisto and Zig had undergone extensive training in piloting and spacecraft operations. As they climbed aboard, a mix of excitement and apprehension filled them. The cockpit was a marvel of engineering, with countless buttons, screens, and controls. Callisto took the pilot's seat and turned to Zig. "I've trained hard for this, Zig. Trust me." Zig connected to the ship's systems. "So have I. We'll be fine." He slowly advanced the throttle. Callisto began the countdown. "Ready, Zig." "Ready," Zig replied, giving a thumbs up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The ship's engines roared to life, and they began to ascend. Callisto looked back at their home planet, watching it shrink in the distance. "Let's do this, Zig," Callisto said, gripping the controls. The ship vibrated slightly as the engines reached full power. They soared through the atmosphere, leaving their world behind. "I've never felt so alive," Zig said. "Me neither," Callisto replied. But this journey will be dangerous. Zig nodded, his eyes fixed on the viewport. You're right, but we have each other. Callisto smiled. Of course, we'll do this together. We won't stop until this mission is complete. The spacecraft soared through the sky, enveloped by the thin atmosphere that acted as a precious protective shield. This atmosphere was composed of several gases, the primary components being nitrogen 78%, oxygen 21%, argon 0.93%. The atmosphere became less dense with increasing altitude. The atmosphere is divided into 5 main layers. Troposphere, the lowest layer, extending approximately 10 to 12 kilometers above the Earth's surface. This is where humans and animals live, and it contains water vapor, clouds, dust, and pollutants. The troposphere plays a crucial role in Earth's weather and climate, with temperatures decreasing with altitude. Stratosphere, located approximately 10 to 50 kilometers above the troposphere. This layer contains a high concentration of ozone, which absorbs harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun. Mesosphere, located approximately 50 to 85 kilometers above the stratosphere. Temperatures in this layer are extremely cold. Thermosphere, located approximately 85 to 500 kilometers above the mesosphere. This layer absorbs X-rays and ultraviolet radiation from the sun, and temperatures increase with altitude. Exosphere, the outermost layer of the atmosphere. Gas molecules in this layer are very sparse, and sometimes artificial satellites orbiting in this layer experience drag from these gas molecules. Callisto and Zig stood on the spaceship's deck, gazing up at the twinkling stars. The night sky was vast and dark, filled with millions of stars. Callisto sighed. It's beautiful, he said, his eyes filled with longing. He thought of Arcanes, his lost friend. Zig placed a hand on Callisto's shoulder. Arcanes would be proud of us. We're carrying on his legacy, Zig said softly. They stood in silence, gazing at the vast universe. The stars seemed to twinkle as if bidding them farewell. Callisto turned to Zig and smiled. Let's go, he said, heading back to the control room. The spacecraft soared through the vast expanse of space. They encountered turbulent space weather, and their ship was buffeted by solar winds. What is this? Callisto yelled as the ship was tossed and turned. A solar storm, Zig replied. A solar storm erupted, unleashing a torrent of energy from the sun. This energy, composed of charged particles like electrons and protons, as well as electromagnetic waves, blasted out from the sun at incredible speeds, hurtling towards the solar system. A massive surge of charged particles slammed into the spaceship. The blinding light made it nearly impossible to see. The ship's electrical systems overloaded, and all communications were cut off. Zig tried to stay calm. Calm down, Callisto. I'm trying to fix the systems. Callisto gasped for air. But I can't control the ship. Zig hit a button on the control panel. I'm going to try the emergency systems. The ship's alarm blared as it began to spin wildly. Callisto and Zig were thrown around the cockpit. Hold on, Callisto, Zig shouted. Callisto struggled to grip his seat. I'm trying. The ship spun faster and faster. Just as it seemed they would be thrown from their seats, the storm subsided. The ship stopped spinning, and the lights returned. Callisto and Zig lay panting on the floor. Callisto pushed himself up. I'm alive. Ha ha ha. Zig also stood up. Me too. Callisto looked around the cockpit. Our ship. It's in bad shape, Zig. You're right, Zig agreed. The electrical systems are fried, and most of the equipment is damaged. Callisto sighed. I don't know how we're going to get out of this. Zig smiled. I have a plan. Callisto looked at Zig quizzically. What is it? We're going to land on that planet, he said, pointing to the navigation map. Callisto was startled. What planet? I'm not sure, but I picked up a signal from a planet on the radar, Zig said, studying the map intently. Callisto was worried. But we don't know what that planet is like. I know, but we don't have any other choice, Zig said, recalibrating the navigation system. Trust me. Callisto sighed and looked out the window. I trust you. Zig quickly reloaded all the systems to restart the spaceship. Callisto returned to the pilot's seat and steered the ship towards the unknown planet. As they approached, the planet was shrouded in thick fog. I'm not sure what to expect, Callisto said nervously. Me too, but we don't have any other choice, Zig replied, peering through the fog. Callisto sighed. All right, I'll land the ship. Callisto guided the spacecraft, and it slowly descended onto the planet's surface. As the thick fog began to clear, both Callisto and Zig were astonished. The planet was covered in lush, green forests, and the sky was a vibrant blue. But they both knew that the beauty of this planet could hide great dangers. Callisto looked at the towering trees. Something feels off about this place, he said. Zig quickly analyzed the data, studying the planet's landscape and physical properties. Don't move. I think I've found something, he said. Zig connected to the spaceship and sent out a wide-range magnetic pulse. The returned data revealed an extraordinary sight. In the vast expanse of space, far from any stars or galaxies, a massive, inky black shadow loomed. It resembled a giant, black velvet cloth floating in the void, but upon closer inspection, countless shimmering points of light, like diamonds embedded in the fabric, could be seen. This is Celestia Verde, also known as the Emerald Space Forest, Zig explained. It's a mysterious land filled with wonder. Despite its dark appearance, the forest is not completely dark. A soft green glow emanates from the strange vegetation that covers the land. Their leaves are thin and translucent, absorbing cosmic rays and transforming them into a radiant light. Colorful flowers float in the air, and some of their petals vibrate gently, releasing golden pollen that drifts through the forest. The creatures of Celestia Verde are just as unusual as its plants. Some have thin wings and flit between the trees. Some have glowing tentacles that absorb starlight, Zig continued. And there are giant creatures, like celestial whales, floating in the air, singing songs that sound like cosmic melodies. Celestia Verde is home to an ancient race known as the Space Elves. They are graceful beings with pale green skin, long silver hair, and golden eyes. The Space Elves live in harmony with nature. They can fly without wings, communicate with animals, and control cosmic energy. The Emerald Space Forest is a land of magic and mystery. There are many secrets yet to be discovered. It is said that at the heart of the forest lies a great tree of life, its branches spreading wide to cover the entire land. Its leaves emit life energy, healing all wounds and diseases. Only those with pure hearts can reach the tree of life. Celestia Verde is an oasis in the vast emptiness of space, a place filled with wonder. Zig disconnected from the ship. Understood. Callisto nodded. Thud. He pressed the button to open the airlock. Be careful out there, Zig. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and enable notifications to stay updated on the next episode, and to support the KS Fantasy channel. For this video, I would like to thank all the lovely viewers for watching and listening.